They're among the most specialized units in the U.S. military, but their missions often involve more teaching than shooting. They train local forces, speak multiple languages, and operate far from traditional battlefields. Known officially as the U.S. Army Special Forces, these soldiers are more commonly referred to by the color of their headgear, the Green Berets. For over 70 years, they've played a quiet but central role in America's global military strategy, often working behind the scenes in places most Americans have never heard of. This video looks at how the Green Berets were formed, how they operate, and why their mission is unlike any other in the U.S. military. The Green Berets trace their lineage to World War II, when the United States created the Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, an early intelligence agency that conducted operations behind enemy lines. OSS teams worked closely with resistance fighters in occupied France, Italy, and Southeast Asia. Their responsibilities included sabotage, intelligence gathering, and guerrilla warfare, all executed with small, autonomous teams. Though the OSS was disbanded after the war, its tactics and structure left a lasting impression. By the early 1950s, the U.S. military began thinking seriously about how to formalize this kind of unconventional warfare capability. In 1952, the U.S. Army activated the 10th Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, now known as Fort Liberty. The timing reflected growing tensions with the Soviet Union. Military planners believed that future conflicts might not involve large-scale invasions, but rather proxy wars, resistance movements, and low-intensity conflicts in the developing world. The new Special Forces unit would be small, highly trained, and able to operate independently in hostile environments, often by building and supporting indigenous resistance movements. Unlike most Army units, they were trained to speak foreign languages, understand local cultures, and live and work among civilians for extended periods. Their headgear, the Green Beret, wasn't officially recognized until 1961, when President John F. Kennedy visited Fort Bragg and publicly endorsed the unit. From that point on, they were known as Green Berets. Vietnam was the first conflict where the Green Berets were deployed at scale. They established remote camps across South Vietnam and trained local fighters, including the Montagnard tribes, in tactics, logistics, and coordination. The goal was to enable these indigenous groups to defend themselves and resist the Viet Cong independently. Green Berets often operated in 12-man teams, known as Operational Detachment Alphas or ODAs, each with specific specialties: weapons, medicine, communications, engineering, and command. They also carried out reconnaissance missions, psychological operations, and intelligence gathering in areas unreachable by conventional troops. By the late 1960s, their presence had expanded significantly. While their missions were highly effective in certain regions, the broader U.S. strategy in Vietnam often conflicted with their decentralized advisory approach. More than 400 Green Berets were killed during the war, but their tactics and their ability to build and lead local forces would become a permanent part of U.S. military doctrine. Becoming a Green Beret is a long and difficult process. Candidates must first pass Special Forces Assessment and Selection, SFAS, a physically and mentally demanding course that tests endurance, land navigation, and problem-solving under pressure. Those selected move on to the Special Forces Qualification Course, or Q course, which can last from 1 to 2 years, depending on the soldier's specialty. The training includes unconventional warfare and small unit tactics, foreign language instruction, combat medicine and trauma care, communications and intelligence operations, demolitions and engineering. The final exercise is called Robin Sage, a multi-week simulated insurgency in a fictional country. Trainees must build rapport with role-playing resistance forces and conduct full-scale operations while navigating complex political dynamics. It's not just about physical strength or technical skill. It's about being able to lead, adapt, and operate independently in uncertain environments. Graduates are awarded the Green Beret and assigned to one of several special forces groups, each with a regional focus. After Vietnam, the Green Berets shifted their focus to Cold War hotspots around the world. In Latin America, they trained forces to counter insurgencies and narcotics trafficking. In Africa, they supported governments facing Soviet-backed rebel groups. In Europe, they prepared for potential resistance operations in case of Soviet invasion. But the next major shift came after September 11, 2001. Just weeks after the attacks, Green Beret teams from 5th Special Forces Group were inserted into Afghanistan. They partnered with the Northern Alliance, used precision airstrikes, and helped overthrow the Taliban's control over large parts of the country, with very few personnel on the ground. This mission, often called the Horse Soldier Campaign, highlighted the core strengths of the Green Beret model: small teams, local partnerships, deep cultural understanding, and flexible execution. Since then, Special Forces units have operated in over 80 countries, often carrying out missions far from the spotlight. Today, Green Berets continue to specialize in unconventional warfare and foreign internal defense, which means working with partner nations to prevent conflict before it starts. They train allied military units, advise governments, and support counterterrorism efforts, often in countries without any formal declaration of conflict. Unlike other elite units such as the Navy SEALs or Delta Force, the Green Berets are structured to stay embedded for months at a time. Their job isn't to conduct direct raids, it's to build local capacity and shape long-term outcomes. They're also involved in counterinsurgency, cyber and information operations, and humanitarian response, depending on the needs of their host nation. In many cases, Green Berets are the first Americans on the ground and the last to leave. The Green Berets occupy a unique space in the U.S. military. They're not just elite fighters, they're strategic operators who work closely with foreign populations, often in places with little infrastructure and limited security. Their strength isn't in overwhelming force. It's in understanding people, places, and problems, and building solutions from the ground up. Their work is rarely public. Their missions are often unacknowledged, but their impact over the past 7 decades has been significant and lasting. If you enjoyed this breakdown, feel free to like the video, drop a comment, or subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
11, 12, let's go. Let's go, let's go.